Right, so in this video we are going to work on the sort functionality of the properties page. Okay, so for now we have a sort by drop down of latest and of price. Okay, for high to low and for low to high. Okay, so for now nothing happens, so we just need to add the functionality. So let's go ahead and start doing this, and also after doing this we will also make the load more button so that we can load more and more properties. Okay, so for now we just have 8, so we'll be just testing for first 2 properties, and when you click on that, so it should load more properties. Okay, so we can keep the default like for 10. Okay, so let's go ahead and start working on this. So in the last video we completed the filters functionality, where we checked and verified for each filter that we applied we are getting the respective filtered properties based on the input parameters. So now let's go ahead and work on the sort by. Okay, so within the page.tsx inside the properties directory, so when we go back to the drop down element that we built using AndDesign, so we use the form element, and inside that we have imported the select tag. Okay, so we have given the placeholder of like sort by, and also on change it should update the state whatever is there for that value. Okay, so these are the values that we provided. So one is the latest, by default that is latest. Okay, so you can just see we have also given the default value, and then for price from high to low, or high to or low to high. Okay, so the value is going to be ascending or descending. Okay, so these are the values. When we click on that, will be sent to the database for the getting the properties sorted. Okay, so let's we have also created the state over here just to set the sort order. So by default it is latest, so all we need now to do is just pass the sort order inside our filters. Okay, inside this use effect. Okay, so along with the filters we also need to pass in the sort order. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that inside. So it's giving me an error because we do not have the sort order yet functionality in this function. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the sort order, and this is going to be of type string. Alright, so now we just need to apply this within our where clause. Okay, sorry, not where clause, we have a property itself called order by. Okay, so we just need to pass in the particular option where we want to sort the properties for. Okay, so that we are receiving from this argument of sort order. So we just need to modify this a little bit and then pass that particular variable inside this. Okay, so let's create that order by variable right above the filtered conditions. So order by, and set this equal to first we need to check what is the sort order. Okay, so sort order, if that is equal to latest, then we want to show the latest properties. So this will actually make sense for after what I just type out. Okay, so let's check this. If that is the latest, so we want the created at the field that we defined right within our schema.prisma. So that is going to be by default whenever we create the property. Okay, so that is the created at field, so we want this to be at the top, right? So let's go ahead and use that created at property. So created at. Alright, so this should be descending. Okay, so we need all the properties in descending order. Else, if this is not latest, then we want to check if that is an ascending order or descending order. Okay, if that means that for the price. Okay, so if the sort order, if that is equal to ascending, we need to check if the sort order is either ascending or descending. Okay, so we can use the OR operator and check even if that is descending. So sort order is equal to descending because the value itself is ASC or DESC, right? So we don't have to create another variable and put the exact thing. So we can just check if those two are there, then we are, whatever the sort order is, we are just going to apply that. Alright, so let's check for that. If it exists, then we want the price to be sorted in the whatever ascending or descending. Okay, so sort order, so the sort order itself. Okay, so else if that is, if this is an invalid string, then we want to throw an error. Okay, so to throw an error we just need to write this inside another function. So what we can just do is we can just use an iffy. Okay, so which is called as immediately invoked function expressions. So inside this, let's define a function like this, and we can just throw new error. okay, and then pass in invalid sort order. Okay, so I just need to, so this shouldn't be returned. Okay, so that's why we just need to use brackets for this. And yeah, so that looks good. And yeah, we are now getting one error over here, so we just need to pass in the order by, or what we can just do is we can just leave it as it is. It will just take the particular constant over here itself. So now it's giving me an error saying that maybe from TypeScript, saying that it is not assignable to type this one. Okay, so what we can just do is we can just get the type itself. So we can just copy this, okay, and then infer the type for the order by, like this. Okay, so so this should come from Prisma dot. Okay, so that looks good. And now we can just go ahead and check it out whether we are getting the properties in the correct sorted order or not. Okay, and one thing I forgot to add is we just need to pass in the sort order as a dependency for this use effect function. Okay, so that whenever we change the sort order, this whole component should re-render. Okay, so with that said, let's go back to our application and try to refresh. Okay, so by default it has been sorted by latest, as you see. Okay, so this is the latest property. And now if I just sort by price from low to high, you see that the least price is for 2500. Okay, so this is like for rent, and it goes all up to like around 30 lakh rupees. Okay, so the sort functionality is working good. So again, let's try for high to low. Yeah, that looks good. And yeah, so our sort functionality is now working. And let's now move on to the final part of this video, that is to load more properties. Okay, so that is very simple. We just need to when we click on this button, it should just make a increment of how many times we are loading the properties, and then pass on that number to the database. Okay, so that should limit the number of items that we are requesting. Okay, so now let's create a state to hold the property count. Okay, so let's call this property count and set property count, and set this to use state. And initially it is going to be 10. Okay, so for demonstration purposes, I'm going to just set it to 2. Okay, so that we can just see that if it is actually working or not, because maximum we have is 8 properties. So let us check for that as well. And the type of this, let's define it as number. Okay, and once that's done, what we can just do is we can go right at the bottom of this property cards, and we can create a button over there. Okay, so let's create a button from and design, and where the type is going to be primary. All right, and then let's give a class name of mt-1, which gives a margin top of 1 rem. Okay, so when we click on this, it should so we need to set the property count. Okay, so first we need to check what is the previous value. Okay, so previous, and the previous value is 2, right? So we are just going to add in 2 more. Okay, so 2 plus 2 becomes 4 when we click on this button. Okay, so the previous value plus 2 again. Okay, so with that done, we can, okay, so we just need to write this inside another function like so. And let's close up this and add in the text of load more. All right, so that's done. And now let's go back to our get properties function within this use effect hook, and let's also pass in the property count. Okay, and also let's give that as a dependency here. All right, so yeah, so let's go back to the get properties function and also receive the property count. Alright, so this is going to be a number, and all we need to now do is just go back to the query that we are making, and we just need to specify a take attribute. Okay, which means that it will take in how much, it will limit the number of rows or requests or records. Okay, so to that particular number. So let's assign that to property count, and Yeah, so this means that so there are four, let's say I clicked on one, it became 4, so it is going to it is going to return 4 properties, okay, the top 4 properties. So with that said, let's go ahead and try this out, and if I just refresh, we should be able to see the load more button, okay, and also we will be adding a small loader, okay, when we are actually fetching the properties, just for some good user experience. Okay, so for now we are just seeing 2 properties. So if I just click on load more, we should get the next 2 properties. Okay, so that's working well, and I let us now like expand this button fully. Okay, so I guess I didn't give that property of, okay, so this is called as block. Okay, so this will take in the available space it has. Okay, so like that, and this looks good. Okay, so yeah, everything's working fine. Now let's work on the loader. Okay, when we are actually fetching the properties, and just it shouldn't be like something as stuck. Okay, so let's do that now. So let's now create a state to hold the state of loading value. So loading, set loading, and set this equal to default value of false. Okay, so right now, like when we are making a request to the database, so we can just set this value of is loading to true. Okay, so set is loading to true. Okay, so while that's fetching, and once it's finished fetching, we can just set that back to false. Okay, so let us give a finally block here. Okay, so irrespective of whether the request is successful or failed, it will always reach this finally block, and where we just want to uh, set the value of is loading to false. Okay, so set loading to false. Alright, so that's done, and now all we just need to do is use this value of this is loading, okay, or just loading to show the spinner. Okay, so right below, right before this right after this property cards, we can just import the loading outlined from design icons. Okay, and we just need to set that okay, if, whenever we have the loading state to true. Okay, so let's render this conditionally. So if is loading or just loading, so sometimes I get confused with loading or is loading, so I just decide to use loading. Okay, so if loading is there, we just want to show the loading outline and give the class name of loading. Alright, so let's now import the loading outline from design icons. Okay, so right below this, let's import loading outlined from @design / icons. Okay, so that's done. So now let's test it out if we are actually getting the loading icon or not. If I refresh this, I should be able to see the loader. Okay, so if you could observe that for the fraction of a second, we could see the loader over there. Okay, so that's done. So now let's put this back to 10 properties. Okay, so that when in future when we have more and more properties, we can just fetch them like minimum 10, and if the user wants to see more, they can click on this load more and then load more properties. Okay, so now it's 4, and now as we keep on clicking, it will take in more and more. Okay, so let's go back and set this back to 10. Okay, and also inside this on click function. Okay, so now we are back to all these 8 properties, and even though when we click on this, we should not be getting more properties. So this is the extreme end. Okay, so that's done. So I guess we are done for this video, and only thing I forgot to do in the last video is to work on this reset button. Okay, so for now, if I just click on this, nothing actually happens. Okay, so this should reset the form. So it's very simple. Let's just go back to the button for the reset, and when we click on this, so this should call a function which will take the form class. Okay, so the filter form that we created an instance of. Okay, so in the last video you remember that using the form.use form, right? So this will go ahead and this has a property called reset fields. Okay, so this is a function which we just need to call, and when you click on this, so this will reset all the field values. Okay, so let's just test it out. So if I just refresh and click on rent and reset, you see that our form is now reset. Okay, so that's the only thing which was left. So that's it for this video, guys. So in the next video we will be working on the next authentication. Okay, so basically we will be implementing Google Auth for logging in and logging out. Okay, so when we click on this button, we should be able to log in through Google, and also whenever we are logged in, we just want to restrict some pages where only logged in users should be able to access them. Okay, so all of this we will be doing in the next video.